Garibi se Azadi and a common mandi for farmers, online trading for farmers, among other issues. Yogendra Yadav, you've taken up farmers' issues, but the Prime Minister did say Garibi se Azadi, and he did refer to farmers on more than one occasion. He even said 99.5% of the cane dues of Uttar Pradesh farmers are being cleared by our government. He was in a way addressing farmers, perhaps more Uttar Pradesh's farmers, since there are elections coming up in that state.
He spoke a lot about farmers. The question is, did he say anything substantive? Is he in touch with what's happening to the farmers? To be fair, the government should not be blamed for the drought of 2 years. The real question is to say, did they do what should have been done during a drought situation? And I'm afraid the record is very, very poor. And today, Rajdeep, I almost felt that he was becoming one more Congressy Prime Minister, completely out of touch with reality. 99.5% farmers, sugarcane farmers, have been paid their dues. I immediately rang up people in Moradabad in Uttar Pradesh, and they challenge, and I can name all those sugarcane factories, not more than 50% have been paid. So what a joke is this? And I would really request your channel to go and check it out.
But the fact is that the blame for that cannot be placed only at the Prime Minister's door. There is a Samajwadi Party government in Uttar Pradesh. The fact also is, as you said, this country has suffered from 2 years of drought. That cannot be placed at the Prime Minister's door.
I'm not blaming the Prime Minister for the pending loans of the last several years. But if you claim from the Red Fort that 99.5% no less have been paid, the least I expect is some honesty about what you are saying. And Rajdeep, this online thing for most of the farmers of India is a joke. And this Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana, the agitations in Haryana and Punjab to save themselves from this scheme that the Prime Minister is flaunting.
You know, a quick response, because we were in Meerut at an Aaj Tak conclave a few weeks ago. Farmers are angry. They are saying that the dues have not been paid both by the Samajwadi Party government in the state and by the centre. My worry is this was the one jumla I clearly saw. I'm sorry to use the word. I'm sorry to use the word. It was not matching what is the reality. Farmers are angry. I didn't see the Prime Minister addressing that anger. Instead, he seemed to suggest that the farmers have actually got what is their due.
No, I think what he's saying is that
you should also
put it into place. It's going to start kicking in.
No, he didn't quite say that. He did, on the farmer issue, he was very clear. Yes, quickly, Sudhanshu and then Jaiveer. Yes.
You should also take into account the fact that agriculture is a concurrent-led subject. So there is also a lot of things to be done by the state level. And one more thing, which Yogendra Yadav ji was referring. Yes, there are 4 or 5 mills whose payment has not gone there because they have 4 or 5 bankrupt. Those who are proved bankrupt or insolvent, if you remove them, then the rest of whatever the statistics, the Prime Minister.
You believe that the Prime Minister,
one more thing you should try to understand.
Yes.
If you look at the state difference, Bundelkhand is a reason which is having some part in MP, part in UP. Why only MP government is able to, I'm talking about UPA government, the entire utilization certificate, but UP government has not been able to utilize.
So you're putting the blame on the UP government. Jaiveer Shergill response.
You see, let's be fair.
I'm not talking about Ganna, I'm talking about the Kisan issue.
No, 1 minute. Let's be fair. A lot of this is baggage from the previous government. For many years, the previous government also left a lot of key issues unaddressed. The farmers' issue has been, again, not happened only in the last 2 years. It's been growing over the last 10, 20 years. Situation has worsened. So Jaiveer Shergill, if the Congress today turns around and points holes in the Prime Minister, be it on Kashmir or even on farmers' issues, they will turn around and say, you created the problem and you want the Prime Minister to clean it up in 2 years and then announce on Red Fort how he has cleaned it up.
2 years
quick response.
I think one thing PM needs Azadi is from the habit of Jumlebazi. This is the classic, victory is mine, defeat is yours. Let me remind him, on Pathankot, the promise was made, MSP will increase. Sugarcane, I'm taking in 2 years, MSP increased by ₹50. The truth is, the farmers are weeping and PM Modi is sleeping. Suicide rate in the past, especially Marthawada region, yes, I am sure it was there during Congress. It has increased astronomically.
It was very much there during Congress.
I'm admitting that, but the percentages have increased astronomically, Rajdeep ji. Now, the Soot Boot Sarkar, Sooj Booj really comes to zero when it comes to farmers of this nation.
जुमलेबाजी क्या होती है? सन 70 में इंदिरा गांधी ने नारा दिया गरीबी हटाओ, और 2014 में 44 साल बाद कांग्रेस ने कहा 2/3 लोगों को खाना उपलब्ध नहीं है। जब 44 में 34 साल इन्होंने राज किया। ये होती है जुमला।
2014 सरफरोशी से छाती ठोक के करते थे, आज आपके चाल चलन में फर्क आ गया है।
Can I just for a moment get some perspective? Is part of the problem that once you are Prime Minister, then everything that you say from Red Fort will be tested by what is actually happening on the ground. And this is part of the problem. He's announced a lot of schemes. Some of them are well-intentioned. The soil card scheme, for example, even many believe the Bima scheme, the crop insurance scheme is well-intentioned. But on the ground, there is a very big difference between the reality and his rhetoric. So, is that what the problem that the Prime Minister will face every time now he addresses the country from the ramparts of Red Fort? First year, you could throw the vision. Now you have to face the reality.
But may I suggest that this is not a problem? This comes with the post of the Prime Minister. What you say you will do, you have to do. So it's no problem. The thing about it is that you know, the country doesn't just belong to sugarcane. Not only sugarcane is a product, is an output of agriculture, and there is not just Congress Party and the BJP in the country. There's us, the people, also. So what I would like to say is that did the UPA drought-proof the country, the country's farmers? No. So, but is the NDA, is the present government drought-proofing? No. Let me give you just one thing. This budget had said 5,767 crore rupees is for the irrigation, Pradhan Mantri irrigation scheme. Now, it is going to cost 5 lakh crores. So where is this when the Prime Minister claims that now we are drought-proofing the country? The other thing is, what about the 2022 promise of doubling the farmers' income? First of all, I want clarity, and Sudhanshu should give it today. Is it real income or is it nominal income? Does he mean that, taking account of inflation, he should say today?
Was that a jumla that farmer incomes will double?
And Rajdeep, what about the written promise in their manifesto about 50% over and above cost MSP. As MSP? This was a written promise in BJP.
You are now suffering from being in government. Yeah. So everything that you say in your manifesto, everything that the Prime Minister says is now going to be tested.
Every crop in Mandi,
just a minute,
selling at a minus 15 to 16% loss.
Quick response to that. Is the Prime Minister facing the problem that people are testing everything he says now much more closely than before, and he has a tendency sometimes to make slightly exaggerated comments?
Slightly? No. I honestly accept that as far as the MSP is concerned, and some other things which we were trying to give to farmers, we are not able to give because of the two reasons. One is the chronic problem of the farmers and rural areas, and also the 2 years of consistent drought. And not only this, in the March-April 2015, there was an excessive rain also in the March-April 2015.
Can I just ask you to give your points, and then we'll come back to this. Mark the Prime Minister on how you found him addressing the issues of farmers and rural India. Take a look at where you stand on that.
As we give marks, I would like to understand the logical relationship between the existence of drought and not giving MSP. I thought that's all the more reason why MSP should be given.
We can debate MSP on another day, because there are those who believe that even increasing MSP is not necessarily the only solution to the crisis of the Indian farmer.
They said that
but
in their
please
own
give
manifesto.
your points. Everybody given their marks? Okay, take a look at farmer and rural India. Where does
KC
Singh, your marks?
You haven't given me a turn to speak, so I haven't given marks.
Your marks.
No, there can't be marks without responsibility.
Okay, I'll let you respond. What are your marks?
I am the great grandson of a farmer, yaar.
So what are your marks? What are your marks first?
My marks will be 5.
5, okay. So and now you can defend those marks even as we put out the numbers. Why do you give only 5? Look, as the grandson of a farmer.
Yeah, rural distress is a complex issue. Yeah. BJP has not shown empathy. They've not shown interest. This is clearly UP in mind. With UP election coming up, suddenly the farmer. With Punjab election coming up, suddenly Guru Gobind Singh. Suddenly things are being discovered by Prime Minister from the ramparts of Red Fort, which BJP traditionally, an urban middle-class based party, does not show empathy.
So you're saying the comments of the Prime Minister on farmers were also directed with elections in Punjab and UP in mind. It's a complex issue.
It's a very complex issue.
Let's look at the marks. The marks clearly show that this is the one area where the Prime Minister is not scoring big, and that is a problem that he is facing. This is a perceptual problem. Some believe that this government is seen not to address the issues of rural India and farmers aggressively enough. Is this a perceptional problem to a complex issue which has not happened only built over the last 2 years?
No, may I say one thing, Rajdeep?
Yes.
You can't invoke Guru Gobind Singh and win an election in Punjab.
Yeah.
You have to show results on the ground. Agrarian distress in Punjab is at its worst.
Yes.
Social distress in Punjab is at its worst. Governance in Punjab is at its corruptest. I'm sorry to say this. If Prime Minister makes a claim that his government has not been sullied by any charge of corruption, he has to account and explain as to why has he stayed in the coalition with the Akali Dal. You see, if he is saying that he is fighting terrorism, then why is he compromising on terrorism at the behest of the Akali Dal? Letting off people on death rows, taking people off the list or blacklist of those people who are based abroad. Look, you can't be one thing in Punjab and you can be another thing nationally.
Same thing with Srinagar.
And secondly, a Prime Minister should know that every speech of his goes into the institutional memory of our country when he speaks from the Red Fort, like he speaks from Parliament.
Okay, I get your
public
point.
Speech.
So
he has to be correct about facts.
I will come therefore to the final comments from all of you on the Prime Minister, whether he addressed the vision thing and whether this speech was inspiring or not. But the farmer and rural India final percentage for the Prime Minister, and this is the one worrying factor that this government must continuously face. This is the one area where he ranks below the 50% mark. On every other issue, the Prime Minister has been above 50%, but the one issue where he doesn't even perform 50% at the moment remains farmers and rural India. This is the one troubled issue for the Prime Minister, which is why you can see Mr. Modi not looking very happy there in our caricature. Final segment here on our speechometer, where we've decided to give an overall rating to the Prime Minister's speech, particularly on vision and inspiration, because these are two words that Mr. Modi has often harked on in the past when he has spoken. Take a look at the numbers. Each of you, if you can rate it on a speech on a scale of 10, your overall rating, and then I'll ask each of you why you've given that rating to the Prime Minister. Overall rating on a scale of 10 on vision and inspiration. Prahlad, you're having a problem with that thing. Give me your number in advance, so I'll put it up. Your number?
6.
6. Okay. Anyone else? 6?
5.
KC Singh is 5. Vinod Sharma is a 5. 3 from a Jaivir Shergill. 10 from a Sudhanshu Trivedi.
I thought he'd give 11.
He'd give 11. We don't have 11, unfortunately. Reena Dhaka?
I'm a 7.
7. Nalini Singh?
5.5.
5.5. We don't have a 5.5, but we'll still try and see if we can accommodate you. 4. Okay, so we've got all your ratings. I'm now going to put them all up on the screen and try and build an average of the ratings of the Prime Minister. Take a look at the average ratings, therefore, for the Prime Minister as they all come up now on your screen. Mr. Modi's vision as shown in this speech. 10 from Sudhanshu to 3 from Jaivir, that's the politicians. But all the others giving somewhere between 5 and 7. Clearly, this hasn't necessarily been the finest speech that the Prime Minister has made in comparison to the past. I'm going to start with you, Prahlad Kakkar. You gave a 6. Why?
I gave a 6 because the speech, though, was not a visionary speech. It was a consolidating speech. And it summed up the last 2.5 years to a certain extent, because it was never covered. Nobody's ever mentioned the kind of infrastructural development that he has done, and he needed to do
so
that.
It was detailed, and therefore it was, to your mind, an effective speech.
Yes.
Which is why you're giving 6. Okay, 6 is a first class, remember. Reena Dhaka, you gave a 7.
So what I liked in his speech was the fact that he is, even though he's justifying his actions or the work of his past, he's also trying. He's also talking of reforming and improving, and he's asking us to reflect. And I also like the messages he gave for youth.
Okay, I'm going to, pardon me, reflect you as symbolic of the elite of Mumbai and Delhi, which have seen him, given him first class marks. You know, it's not a bad word to be part of the elite. Nothing wrong. I've given you, though, both of you are giving a first class to Mr. Modi, 6 and 7. So he retains that constituency clearly. The honeymoon remains there. Vinod Sharma, as someone who tends to be a critic of the Prime Minister, you've given him a 5. That's average.
No, I cut 5 marks out for what he didn't say, or even said it but didn't say it adequately. there were certain things.
What would you have liked him to say?
On the Independence Day, I want to hear from my Prime Minister. I want to be educated by my Prime Minister, because we don't get to meet the Prime Minister every day. So, as to which direction is he taking my country? He did not stay adequately on the Kashmir issue. He did not stay adequately.
He gave a report card. No, he went step by step to all
this report card is available in PIB from ministerial sources everywhere. Please, these are the claims of the government. I was wanting to hear from the Prime Minister as to how he is going to do the outreach to the alienated youth in Kashmir. How is he going to solve the problems of the Dalits? How will he bring social amity in India, without which, according to him, there cannot be a strong India?
You made an interesting word, Dalits. I heard mention of Adivasis on more than one occasion. I didn't hear in the context, particularly there's been a rally today in Una, which Dalits have taken out in a symbolic way on 15th August. The question is, should the Prime Minister be speaking on every issue? Is he expected to make a grand visionary speech? Or is he focusing on a report card of government schemes? You have given Nalini Singh again a 5 to him.
You know, Rajdeep, the point is that you're talking about every issue. There are lots of issues that are top of mind, and then they hurt you inside. The Dalit issue is one such issue, and it has to be addressed by the Prime Minister.
He spoke about it in Hyderabad. He spoke about Gaurakshaks
in Hyderabad. So that is what I want to ask you. In the last week, he's made some very, very sharp comments.
So why should he repeat it?
No, but basically now this is the Independence Day. Now let me just
quickly, 30 seconds.
30 seconds is not one transformational idea. And let me just give you an example in 10 seconds. Nehru said Green Revolution. Lal Bahadur Shastri said White Revolution.
He spoke of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan.
Well, no, White Revolution of the NDDB. Then Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Gene Revolution, the gene technology. You see what's happened to cotton today. So what I'm saying, one idea.
You didn't see one big idea, that's why you give it a 5. KC Singh, quickly. You've given it also, I see, a 5. That seems to be the average today.
See, the speech was too long. It was meandering. It went from point to point. Excessive focus on services, on infrastructure development, etc. It's like a detailed report card, whereas he could have summed it up, made it very small, and then gone to basic issues which others are talking of. What is confronting the nation today? The problem in Kashmir, and I think on terrorism, he's just unidimensional. Yeah, Pakistan has contributes to it, but it's minds and hearts.
But he also spoke about breaking away with the legacy of the past, of corruption, of bureaucracy, of obstructionism, and offering a new vision in that sense.
So in almost 2.5 years of governance, if they haven't found a way of really sorting out governance and making systemic changes, then when are they going to do it? You can't keep blaming,
30 seconds each.
Others.
Yogendra Yadav, you gave a 4.
The Prime Minister looked tired, beleaguered, meandering, which is not what he usually does. 2014 speech was that of a statesperson. Today it was report card of someone who knew he had to speak so much because he didn't have much to say. That was the problem. And I, like Vinod, heard, for me, the loudest things in today's speech were the silences. Kashmir, Dalit, India's minorities. These are 3 things someone would have liked to hear. Okay. I'm sorry, the silence hurts.
15 seconds each to my 2 politicians, because your reactions will be predictable. You've given a 3, Jaiveer Shergill.
I think PM Modi's Independence Day speeches are becoming a saga of unfulfilled holy promises. He's always high on idolation, low on implementation. He did not inspire confidence. The anxiety and commitment of 2014 was missing. Since he speaks, he is addicted to the habit of monologue. He should increase his dialogue with the people of India and speak on issues more
Maybe future speeches of Prime Ministers on Independence Day then should become dialogue. Because monologues have been a tradition of Prime Ministers since 1947. Quick final response, Sudhanshuji. You've given a 10. I know you might have liked to give 11.
Yes. There was a grand vision from Gaon Garib Kisan to transformation in infrastructure and even implementation of the technology and reforms derived by that, and also he has given a social message and a superb new dimension to the foreign policy. I would like to conclude with the word sentence कि स्वप्न देखा था कभी वो आज हर धड़कन में है, एक नया भारत बनाने का इरादा मन में है, बढ़ रहे हैं हम प्रगति की ओर उस रफ्तार से, कर रहा है विश्व भी हमको
maybe next time you should become the speechwriter for the Prime Minister to uplift that speech and give the vision element, Sudhanshu Trivedi. But I appreciate all of you joining us here this day of Independence Day. At the end of the day, it's Independence Day. Remember, the final percentages of the Prime Minister's speech are as follows. This is the overall percentage that our studio panel has given. You can of course rate it. It's just below the 60% mark. It isn't, many say, Mr. Modi's finest speech. But at the end of the day, maybe that's because our expectations of our Prime Minister are also so high. Either way, this is Independence Day. We hope, of course, for a better India, for a glass half full. And maybe, if I may be allowed to say so, for an Olympic medal or two. I would have liked to see him say a bit about our athletes too, and what can be done to make sure that one day we will have a number of gold medals. Till then, I am afraid sometimes you just have to settle for bronze or fourth place. Thank you all very much for joining us on this Independence Day special. Jai Hind.